It's me, Dubbag. This is something new I wanted to try out. This is something called me talking to myself. It's basically a podcast type of idea, but I'm not going to refer to it as a podcast. It's basically me having a soliloquy and recording it. And if you don't know what that word means, it means basically thinking out loud. But regardless, I mean, basically this is just going to be me rambling. My mind jumps from subject to subject very quickly, and I apologize if sometimes at some points it's difficult to keep track of what subject I'm on, but I'm going to try and keep that as clear and concise for everybody as I can. I don't have the best microphone. I can't afford the best microphone. Sorry, I just can't. But I'm hoping that my viewers will lend me their ears and listen to the madman's ramblings on the other side of this microphone, if only just for 20 minutes. So yeah, most of you know me as Dubbag. My name is Jason. My last name I'm not going to say, but you could easily find it. Let me first talk about how I got into Doom. I know this is like a cliche thing to bring up, but I mean, like, I've always wanted to tell my story, and it's something that I don't know when I'll ever get the chance to actually tell it to somebody. My experience and foray into Doom was not until I was around, 7 years old. 1999. I know it was 1999. And how that happened was, I used to, every Friday, my father would take me to a Blockbuster, right? Every Friday, and I would rent video games for my Nintendo 64. And up until, maybe that very day, this one particular Friday, the only games I had ever played were like the norm, Mario, Banjo-Kazooie, or, things like Gex or Rampage, things that are a little bit crazy at times, but nothing that's just, that, like, it's too violent. I mean, yeah, so growing up, I was raised in a Catholic family. I am the only person in my family who is a atheist. I am the only person in my family who was never communionized. I was baptized, but, obviously that's not my fucking choice. Anyways, so we go to the Blockbuster, me and my dad, one day, right? And like I said, I've only played, like, kids' games. We get there, and I'm looking through all the games, and there's nothing I can really find. But then I look, and I see the box art of Doom 64. I just see this pentagram with this devil fucking face. I didn't even know what a pentagram was, or what a devil was. I just thought, oh, cool looking monster on the box. And I pointed at that one, and my dad looks down at me. He goes, well, he got this grimace on his face. He's like, that's the game you want? Almost saying, like, are you sure about that? And I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? It looks cool. You got a gun, and on the back of the box, you're, like, shooting at monsters. Seems neat to me. So, basically what happened was, I ended up renting Doom 64, and I was terrified. I was 7 years old, playing Doom 64, and I was terrified. That game impacted my life so much that I had never felt any other emotion besides joy or frustration from playing video games, right? This was the first time a game had made me feel something that was like fear. And I'll never forget how terrified I was when I was on staging area and that music began to play. That droning music, that that is just so, it bleeds black. It's like if I could describe the soundtrack of Doom 64 and equate it to a visualization. Take a white wall and just clean it. Make it as white as possible. And then just pour a bucket of black paint down the wall and watch it run. That is what Doom 64 soundtrack is like. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else but me, but I digress. The character designs, oh my god. The Pinky in Doom 64 is the scariest monster I have ever seen in my life. Even the new games, Doom 3, Eternal, 2016, none of these games ever made a monster that is more terrifying and scary than the Doom 64 Pinky. I mean, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm 7 years old and I'm looking down a dark hallway, and I said you got the black paint music going down the wall, and then you're hearing that, and then you go down this dark hallway with this gorgeous blue lighting, and you go up an elevator, and there's this fucking pink thing you've never seen before in your life. Not even in any other iteration or version of the game. Not even the classic ones, because this is the only one I'd ever played. And you see this thing with its mouth open, running at you faster than anything you've ever seen move in any video game in your life. And then it comes up to you and bites you. It felt like it was swallowing you whole. That's playing Doom 64 at 7 years old. Never having played the classics and knowing anything about it. It was also my first experience with the first-person shooter. My heart's racing, and I'm just thinking about it. I'm sorry if I sound pretentious, but I'm not. I loved it. I love that game so much, and it was just so cool. So, what ended up happening after the Doom 64 thing was that same year in 99, if you're a Doom fan, we all know what happened in April of 99. I'm not going to talk about it, but let's just say two kids did some fucked up shit, and then Doom got blamed for influencing their actions, which is bullshit in any case that you ever hear about. It was Call of Duty at one point. I don't know what the game is now these days. Next thing you know, they're going to be saying that, Mario Odyssey is inciting kids to go jump on people's heads. But anyways, after that happened, my parents saw on the news about I'll just come out and say the Columbine shootings. My parents saw that, and they saw the whole correlation that the media had made with Doom and the shooting at the same time. And what ended up happening was my parents lied to me because I wanted to go back the next week and get it again, and they lied to me. I think it did happen within the same week, actually. The first time I played it, and then the next time I went to go get it. I never thought of that. But the next week I went to go get it. My dad's like, no, they've taken it off the shelves, and it's illegal to have Doom 64 in your house. Because they were scared that it was a bad game, because my parents were super religious, and when they saw what that game was about, my mother wouldn't even let me play Castlevania 64 because of how, I don't know, the skeletons and the werewolves and the crosses or whatever, I don't know. Looking back on it now, she did me a favor not allowing me to play that piece of shit. Even though I love that game. So, yeah, I'm flabbergasted at this. So then it goes, I believed them because, what am I going to do? I'm 7 years old and my parents. I can't argue with them, and I have no choice but to believe them because I don't know any better. So I go on with my life, and I'm not allowed to play Doom at all, right? So around 2001, I go to my friend's house, and guess what he's got? He's got a... I hate to admit it, he's got a Sega 32X and the 32X Doom. He's got the 32X Doom with him, and I saw that he had that in his bedroom, and it was on his dresser next to this tube television, right? And I'm like, can we play that, please? Can we please play that? And the minute he fired it up, again, never having played the classics, I was just happy to be playing Doom again. And it all came flooding back, and I was just as terrified of, okay, maybe not just as, but a little bit nervous still playing this game on the 32X, just because it still was Doom. And when I saw the pinkies in the classic Doom, I gotta admit it, the first time I was like, that's what they're... I didn't understand, okay? I was like, that's what they look like? I didn't realize it was an older version of the game. I was expecting Doom 64 all over again, because I didn't, But I was just like, what is this? I remember being creeped out by Doom Guy's face completely fucking turning into hamburger meat when he died. I thought that was kind of fucking freaky. What else? So, yeah. Still wasn't allowed to have it, though. Or was I? We'll get to that point in the story in a minute. So I go to my friend's house and I play this game. And I go over to my mom and dad's house, right? And I'm at dinner with my parents. And I'm telling my sister, who is 10 years older than me, by the way, telling my sister about it. And I'm like, yeah, I played this game. I didn't say it was Doom. I just told them what I was playing. And she put two and two together, and she's like, that's Doom. And my parents are like, you ain't over there playing Doom, are you? I swear to God, I wasn't allowed to play Doom. Right? And then my sister looks at me and goes, no Doom in this house! I swear to God. She wouldn't even let me, when Doom 3 came out, wouldn't even let me fucking install it on her computer. She held out longer than my parents did. Because before Doom 3 came out, this is like, now we're in like early 2004, I go to a used game shop. There's a used game shop. And this time we're living in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, which is a town that's like maybe 20 minutes outside of Louisville. And that was because my mom had just recently retired from the U.S. Army, and we had just moved away from Fort Knox, but not back to New York yet. That's another ball of wax I'll get into some other time. So basically, I go to this used game shop, and let me tell you, when you're 10 years old and you go and you find your first used game shop and every video game you could ever imagine that you never thought you'd ever see again, that you never thought you'd ever have the privilege of playing again, is all on sale for like $5 a piece. $5 a piece. Sorry if my mic's clipping. This mic is old. $5. I bought like 20 games in one day there. My dad saw the games and he saw how cheap they were and he's like, just go. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Just go. And guess what was in there? Guess what was in there? Doom 64. I picked it up and I look at my dad and I look at him and he looks at me and I'm like, can I have this? Can I please play this? Please, can I get this, Dad? Please, I love this game. And he looks at me and he goes, it's almost like he forgot what he was angry about. Like, I swear to God. He looks at me and goes, yeah, I don't give a shit. It's just a game. And I'm like, okay, Dad, thank you. Thank you, Daddy. I go pay for it. I mean, he pays for it technically, but he gave me the money. And I bring all these games home, and you bet your fucking ass that is the first game. That is the first game that I put in and played. I bought that. I bought Gex 64. I bought Mega Man 64, Rampage World Tour, which is, in my opinion, the best Rampage. Rampage 2 and Rampage 3 can go suck ass. Rampage World Tour is where it's at. On the PlayStation, but I didn't have... I didn't understand how how ports differentiated, so I didn't give a shit. I just bought the Rampage 64. Yeah, man. So now let's move on to like 2005. Okay, so 2005 hits. Up until this point, I had played Doom 64, the 32X one, but didn't remember much about it. And what I ended up doing was downloading the shareware version of Doom, the one that they released. Excuse me. And I remember that I didn't know how to set it up because I had no idea about source ports. I didn't know anything about fucking WADs. I didn't know any of that shit. So I had to launch it on the DOS box and use PC sound effects, the PC speaker sound effects. And even then, it was a fucking blast. And I beat that shareware 5 times in one fucking day. I think in one sitting. And I gotta tell you, man, I wanted more. So what ended up happening was the summer comes around the middle of that year, and guess what I discover? By that time I actually got my own computer, because technically I was using my sister's computer because by then she'd given up on the fight as well. And I get my own computer and I wanted to have Doom on it, and I found Free Doom. Free Doom, I will forever be thankful for existing, because being able to play the iWAD Free Doom without owning actual Doom was really fucking cool at the time. It was really cool to just... It felt a little bit off because I knew it wasn't the real, like, official release of the WAD, but it was still... It's the same fucking game. Just different maps. And at the time, everything was so silly. Like, you ought to have seen Free Doom in, like, 2005, dude. It was raw. It was raw. There was no Archvile sprites, so all the enemies that didn't have sprite sets made yet were this little box that was a disclaimer that said, sprite art not made yet. So you'd be set on fire by a little box that was running around. The Doom guy looked different because this was before they had the Carl Urban look from the Doom movie, because that hadn't released yet. That wasn't until October of the same year, I believe. And so, yeah, that was fun. So around October, I ended up actually buying the Doom 95 version of Doom 2. I think that's what it is. With the shitty launcher on it that, good luck getting anything to run, any custom WAD on that shit to run. It had to be like raw to get it to that shit to run on that thing. So that's when I realized, why don't I just use a source port? Just use GZ Doom. Just use Z. It was Z Doom at the time. I don't think GZ Doom was a thing yet. Was it? I don't think so. It was just Z Doom. And actually, if I'm being honest, it was Skulltag. Because Skulltag, I swear, was the pack-in source port that they had for Free Doom at the time. So that's why that's why I started out. My actual first source port was Z Doom, but it was Skulltag. Skulltag was fun. I still use Skulltag sometimes when I'm playing by myself. When I'm playing with myself. So yeah, and then the story goes on from there. I mean, I made my first Doom WAD that same year, December 2005, and my first released one. I had plenty of, first-time WADs, the obvious mistakes. Dude, my first WAD that I ever made was like 32 maps of just open crags of fucking canyons and shit with 0 health, because listen to this stupid logic. In hell, there will be no health. Why would there be health in hell? I don't know, because it's a fucking game, idiot. You 13-year-old dummy. At least I was stupid at 13. I don't know. I've met some kids that they're smarter than I am right now. So, but I'm just saying, man. When they announced, let me tell you, When they announced Doom 2016, and I saw the Fight Like Hell trailer, I cried. I cried when I saw the Baron of Hell. When I first saw the Baron of Hell, I cried. And then you should have seen my reaction when I first played the game. It was great. It was fantastic. You know, it was all those things that you wanted. And when they brought, I was not expecting it. I wasn't expecting it because remember, when that game was coming out, I kept myself away from it as much as possible so I wouldn't spoil anything for me. And when Olivia Pierce sinks into the ground, comes back up as the Spider Mastermind, I lost it. I was like, yeah! My parents, I was still living at home at the time. I moved out that same year, but I was still living at home till then. And my parents screamed back upstairs to my bedroom, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just really excited." It was a blast. Then Doom Eternal came out, and I got to tell you, man, I did not like it as much. The music was the music was hit or miss with me. Some of it, there was a lot of really heavy shit on there, but by that time it was like, well, yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna put in there? But I'm not saying that's nothing against the game. The game is fucking great. It's a great game. It is great. It's a good game. I enjoy playing it. I like how they have the cheats in there. That's always fun. But I just liked 2016 better. I always have, and I always will. But nothing will ever top my experience with Doom 64. And that's where I'm going to wrap up this episode of Talking to Myself. And I would like to thank everybody in the Doom world over the years for supporting me. And all my friends on Sandstream, Clippy, Man with Gun, Snaxolotl, Sandwedge, Dark Pulse, Will Sir Wonkles, Doom Kid, of course we can't forget him. And basically, if I have forgotten anybody that's popped in or out, please forgive me. I'm not meaning to leave you out. Did I say Clippy? I think I said Clippy. And I'm just really thankful for everybody for giving me their time to, support this community and what it means to all of us. This is one of the richest and most intelligent, talented community of people I've ever seen on the internet. There is no other community that is on this earth that is as talented and just rich with personality as the people that you meet and talk to on this place. And the accessibility that you have. A lot of people, there's certain people in this world, they get to a certain status, they don't want to talk to anybody lower than them. But when you go into Doom World, you can literally talk to Doom Kid. You can literally talk to Mount Pain. You can literally talk to all these, even the Linguisa, Graf Sol. You can actually talk. These people, I'm not saying it's a surprise that these people exist. I'm saying that, it's really cool how you can talk to these people and actually get responses from them. Not to mention the great community of friends that you build up over the years. And I really appreciate everything that WAD editors and mappers put out. Playtesters that have influenced me, influenced others, streamers that bring a whole new level of oneness to the community. I'm just happy about all of it. And I guess I'm going to end this episode with saying I love you all, and I hope to do another one of these episodes if you guys like listening to me just ramble on and on. Yeah. Happy dooming.